Welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, Pat tells her story about coaster dusting in Vancouver, giant theremin man, and feeling shy. So did you do video of you, going around crop dusting the GU?
Man,
Vibe?
I am seeing all of my hangups in this guerrilla marketing endeavor because, first of all, so I went to two things at night this week, which is not normal for me.
Good God.
Yeah. So one was a reading. Have you been to Vancouver?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, there's this place called Granville Island, which I worked at when I was a teenager. Cool place. If you like that kind of thing. Very it used to be industrial. There used to be an arts university there. Before that, I don't even know what. Still a teeny tiny bit of light industry, but mostly just tourist stuff. Big market, like little boats that bob along the water to and from downtown, all that stuff. Anyway, there was a bookstore there, and so I went to this reading of a writer I've actually met once in 2017 at a party in Seattle. And I found out about the reading from the guy who hosted the party who's going to be writing this reading novel. And so I just thought, well, I haven't been to a reading in a while and you got to support people. So I went to the reading and it was pretty good. I must say I was pleasantly affirmed that my own reading was good because this one felt a little stiff,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I was like, and I told you my purse was smelling weird, and I felt felt like, oh, what else is smelling that I didn't notice because I was in my little, bubble. And then, so the part that I'm finding out, so I only brought one coaster because I was like, well, I'm not taking all 25. I only got 25 printed because I didn't want to waste a bunch of money if they didn't work out, You're like $1 something each, so you can tell. Sometimes I get a little tight-fisted. Anyway, so and then
You took one. You took one.
I took one, and then I couldn't ditch it because this was such a tiny bookstore. And every time I tried to get into this area where it looked like a coaster would go unnoticed for a little while, there was some incredibly well-groomed young woman standing there. And I just felt like a gigantic person, like a gigantic person with a smelly purse trying to stash something. So I ended up putting it in a very obvious place, on top of some books. Oh my God. And then I kind of like just loitered for another 5 seconds and then left.
You didn't run away? You didn't run out of the store?
I didn't run.
Like screaming? Like fist pumping, legs working.
You statues. No. And then last night's thing, it was actually started at 5. I got there around 5:30. It was outside, so I knew it was going to be fine to not, be there right at the beginning. And it was in this little plaza, next to a coffee shop in like on Main Street, which is this very fun, cool area in Vancouver, or can be. And I brought 2 coasters.
Good God.
I didn't know there'd be tables. I didn't know.
What does Gifted Underachievers just grow money on trees? You blew up our budget.
Well, the other part too about getting the small batch was that I didn't know if the typeface would be big enough, and also if the QR code would read properly. So, but I'm like, what am I gonna do? Make these last till 2027? Like, come on, just get rid of them. So,
well, our marketing plan was 2030 for these 25.
We want to spend $1.18 a year on.
You're getting a little profit.
So I brought 2 this time, and I was like, so anyway, the occasion was this guy that went to high school with my little brother, same high school I went to, but they're a couple years younger. And he's been a musician in Vancouver for like 30 years. Very talented. Has a band, that started out, kind of punk with this band called Slow, and they just tore up the stage everywhere they went. And anyway, now he's got this gig. Have you heard of the theremin? It's an instrument.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he's theremin man.
Wow.
I'll send you a link.
So is he the stereotype of a theremin male player?
There's a stereotype?
Oh yeah, there's a big stereotype.
Okay, tell me more.
Very geeky, very nervous, very shy.
No,
Will talk your ears off endlessly about the importance of the theremin to the music scene
no,
kind of
no,
vibe.
no,
No.
not like that. He's
Cool fair.
gigantic. He's probably, I don't know how tall he is. He's one of those very tall people.
Oh, he's literally tall. I thought you meant he was a giant in the theremin.
Oh, I don't know. He's tall, he's big, he's got a ton of presence. He does this stuff with his arms, and it's all outer space music. Like he's
Oh yeah. He's hidden. There's some overlap. The Venn diagram. There's overlap.
He's wearing these little pink round glasses,
Yeah,
sort of a caftany type top.
Oh no.
Oh, it was so fun. And anyway, he's good. And he was singing along with the theremin sometimes and had a back, like a drum beat and the stuff. I don't know where all the music was, but anyway, he had good speakers. And it was outside and it was really nice, warm, like 5:30 p.m. kind of vibe. And so there was like, I don't know, maybe 20 people in this little plaza area. It wasn't huge, but people were walking by constantly, and some would stop and then move on and stuff like that. So it wasn't bad. But so with the coaster drop, I had these picnic tables outside the coffee shop, like right in front of where Theremin Man was performing. And I came mid-song. So I sat down and I casually took my water bottle out of my bag. Not the smelly bag. That one's in the wash.
Yep. You learn from the past mistakes, right?
I had a tote.
Carrying these things forward.
And then I groped in my tote and got one of the coasters out and put my water bottle on it very casually, and then I just kind of listened, and it was really fun. It was good music. I enjoyed it. And then at the break, when Theremin Man took a break, I went up and just said hi, because we sort of recognized each other. Like there was 4 Dobies in high school at the same time. Not all in the same high school, but me and my little brother were in the same high school, and for a brief period, my big brother too. And so he recognized me, and we had a good chat, or a short but good chat. And then I realized I forgot my wallet. I wanted to buy a T-shirt, so I ended up bumbling around the back of he had this little setup with an umbrella and 2 speakers and stuff. I was bumbling around the back of that. But he was very cool to talk to, because he's well aware of what it's like to be a musician who's been in like 3 or 4 different bands and is still in more than one kind of musical thing. And this is just his incarnation now, because he loves the theremin, but he really doesn't lecture. He doesn't talk about the theremin much. He just, some guy came up and said, tell me about this instrument. He's like, well, it was invented in the 1920s, and just a very couple sentences kind of thing. So anyway, I wanted to buy a T-shirt, and I was bumbling around the back with my phone going, how do I do an e-transfer? And then worked that up, and I asked him for his phone number, and he's like, you don't need that, just my email. And I was like, I know, I was just trying to get your phone number. Like the unsuavest possible exchange. And there was just this kind of awkward silence. And then so I got the T-shirt. And then I was like, I just like, he's like, oh, so you have you're doing stuff. And I was like, yeah, I got my book out. He's like, oh, are you doing readings? And I was like, oh, yeah, I did one. I forgot about the virtual launch, and I was and then I forgot to tell him where you could buy the book. And then, but I remembered the coaster, so I pulled out this drink coaster from my bag and said, doing a podcast. I don't have cards. I just have a drink coaster. and I said, yeah, it's called Gifted Underachievers. And he just laughed. It's so great. I can relate to that or something like that. And then I bumbled off with my of my high school anxiety came back, and I don't even really remember Theremin Man from high school, except that he was in drama. I was in drama, like Bacchus stage stuff, and I was in.
Yeah, if he had his theremin working back then, you'd remember him.
Well, I remember because he was buddies with this guy, Terry, and they were hilarious together. And they ended up having a band later, but probably still in high school, actually. But anyway, so I have good memories of him, but I just, for some reason, got the heebie-jeebies about my uncoolness and turned into one of those, those things outside gas stations or
the floppy gas station is like dancing away. That was you, huh?
No money, tripping over my own feet, handing out a coaster.
Cap it off by, saying you're a jerk and then running away.
I did. I got this kind of hero worship thing going. Ooh, Theremin Man. And then on the way home, I walked there and back because it wasn't that far. And on the way home, I was thinking, I got to put him in a novel now. I'm working on this local novel, like just shit that's going on, and I got to have Theremin Man in there.
Yeah. Yeah, the giant theremin guy.
Anyway, so that's the coaster thing. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm meeting my friends Karen and Lori at the pub on Sunday. I'm gonna bring like 8.
Oh dear God. Wow.
Right? I'll do our table. I'll see if I can ask the server Jax to drop a few at the next table and the table. Maybe I'll bring all the rest. Maybe I will.
This is turning into like so much more of an adventure.
It's awesome. I'm really pushing my limits here. For some reason, this weird little choo 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 of coasters turned into who am I?
Yeah. And
what's wrong with me?
Choo 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 is trademarked by see it on a t-shirt near you.
That idea came from our biggest supporter, Jane.
Yep, biggest fan, Jane.
Shout out.
Yep, shout out to Jane.
Thanks for listening to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. We'd love to hear how we're doing, so please leave a comment, join our chat page, or send us an email at giftedunderachievers@substack.com. Have an awesome day.